The Premier League has been in existence for over 30 years, and currently the top 20 clubs in England sit in the top division. But are they actually the 20 clubs that should be in the Premier League? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. That's right, folks, back once again with another tier list video. Today we're going to rank each and every one of the 92 clubs in the English football pyramid from the divisions I think that they should be in. That's right. Who are the 20 best clubs in English football and who should be in the Premier League? And of course, who are the 24 clubs that should be rotting in the League Two? We'll take a little look at it in a second. Of course, if you knew where you've been, smash your subscribe button. You want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, World Football, all under one bloody Rooski. That's right, 92 clubs. Who is the top 20? Who's in the second tier? Who, of course, will be languishing in the bottom ends? We'll take a look at them in a second. Big shout out to the VIPs, the Patreons, and a big shout out to the members. You know who you are. But anyway, let's jump into the vortex and let's go get cracking. Alrighty then, folks, here we go. We're going to rank each and every one of the 92 clubs, and we're going to try and do it in pretty quick succession. Not going to pan around too much. So we're going to start with a quick look at this. We're going to start with, of course, our first League Two team, of course, coming at you, and it will be Barrow. That's right. Barrow have been pretty new to the scene, of course, in League Two, and realistically, they haven't really flirted above that. They've been knocking on the door for promotion for past season and a half or so. But realistically, that's it. Let's do another one then, shall we? I've got maybe a bit of a surprise here. We're going to go with Stevenage. Currently find themselves in League One, but realistically, I think they should be in League Two. Let's go and take a little look at our League One club then. Let's mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to go with a bit of a surprise here, and I think it should be Bournemouth. That's right. Yes, in the Premier League. Been in the Premier League for the past few years. But have they really done anything to warrant their spot in the top 20? I don't think so. Yes, it'd be quite bonkers to see them in the division now, but realistically, over the course of the 30-some years, Bournemouth, haven't really amounted to much either. And I'm going to put them in the same bracket. They're not going to be on their own. There's going to be some other surprises in there, including another one alongside them, and that will be Brentford. Again, doing great under Thomas Frank right now, and I think they should have a good, nice season ahead for them in the Premier League currently. But realistically, they should be in League One, if we're going to be completely honest with you. Let's take a look then, shall we, at a championship club, and this one might again be a bit of a surprise. We're going to go with Sheffield Wednesday. Oh yes, indeed. Of course, two halves of Sheffield. Do they both fit in the championship, or are one of the other halves of Sheffield in the Premier League? I don't know. We'll take a little look at that as we explore the 92 clubs later on. Meanwhile, a team that should be in the championship that's not. They're not a Premier League club either. It is Charlton. That's right. They are, of course, in League One with Nathan Jones. Realistically, I think they should be in the Prem. What about the top end of the scale? Are there any surprises to see these guys not anywhere else? But it is Arsenal. It is Manchester United. Of course, they are of the most successful clubs currently in the division. So this is how it works. We're going to rank through the rest of them, and we've done a little bit so far, and we I think are pretty happy with that. Let's go back down to League Two and mix it up a little bit further and take a little look at two clubs currently not in League Two, and they are these. That is Cambridge and Leyton Orient. Recently promoted from League Two to League One, but realistically, are they anything but League Two clubs? League Two standard? Yeah, I don't think so. So I'm going to put them in there into League Two at the moment. What about League One? Well, we've had a couple heavyweights in there. We're going to mix it up a little bit. In fact, let's go make it a little bit boring. Throw a couple of other vanilla ones in there, and those are Exeter and Swindon Town. That's right, Exeter are in League One. Swindon Town, formerly of the Premier League, of course, were in there in the early years, but I think they're more of a League One club than anything else. So not too shabby over there. Let's do another one for the Championship, and let's go with these two, which of course is Bristol City and Swansea. Bristol City yet to taste the promised land. Swansea were there or thereabouts. They had some time in the Premier League, but realistically, it didn't amount to much in the first in the long term there. So gonna go with those guys right now. And of course, what about the Premier League? Let's go with some more heavyweights, and of course, no surprises here, and that is Man City and Liverpool currently, again, of the best. No surprises, you would say, on those ones. Let's go return back down to League Two, and we're trying to fly through these. Of course, let's go with a couple of surprises. Difficult, very difficult and very hard done by maybe a little bit. I should be thinking about this a bit more deeper, but I'm going to stick them both in there. Wimbledon and MK Dons. Of course, the Wimbledon is the actual AFC Wimbledon has never been in the Premier League, so I can't really go with that. MK Dons was of course, a franchise club. It was Wimbledon, who were a Premier League team, and if they were that, I would put them back in there, or at least be in the Championship reckoning. But I can't. I don't feel right in putting MK Dons any further than League Two. So that's what they are, unfortunately. What about the next batch? Let's go with these two for League One, and it's Lincoln. It is Walsall. A bit of a surprise again, perhaps, when you see them alongside the Brentfords and the Bournemouths. Walsall were, I think, in recent times, a steady Eddie League One club. Not much more than that, to be honest with you. They could be a League One, League Two, depending on where your allegiances lie. So what about that? What about the next in the Championship? Let's go these two here. Both have been in the Premier League, not for a long time though. Derby, and of course QPR. Of course QPR were in the Premier League for a few years, the glory years in the Jerry Francis days with Les Ferdinand, Trevor Sinclair. Good club they were, a very free scoring team back in the day. But those days seem long gone again. They were there with Warnock as well, but not so much. Let's go with another couple heavy hitters in the Premier League, and it is Chelsea and it is Spurs. Any surprises so far in the Prem? No, but there will be. Spurs will slide in there. And because it's difficult to see, I would change it up a little bit for Spurs. There you go. Should be able to see them right now. So, looking good so far. Of course, there was only 20 teams in the Prem. There's 24 in the others. Let's go back down to League Two and chuck a couple of other League One clubs in there. Currently in League One, should be at League Two. It's Shrewsbury, it's Burton. They go into League Two, and I think that's pretty much where they belong. Any arguments? Let me know down below. Back into League One, let's surprise us all with a couple curveballs. One was in the Premier League just. The other, I think, belongs in League One. It's Fleetwood Town, that's right. I remember the Uwe Rosler years. They were very good with Fleetwood. They were a little bit hard done by. I think did they even get promoted to the Championship? I don't think, if they did, it wasn't for long. Luton Town traditionally were Championship club at best. Of course, they were in the Premier League last season, but flash in the pan. And I don't, to be honest with you, it doesn't look good for them moving forward. I think they could be slipping back down towards the lower echelons, especially of the Championship, maybe even a bit of a headache to move forward. So, yeah, I don't think anyone can argue with that. Some people may say they're a Championship club, but I'm not sold. Let's go with these guys then, shall we? Let's go with them. Both been in the Prem. Coventry City, haven't been there in a while though. And Portsmouth also haven't been there in a while. Of course, Portsmouth struggling as of right now in the Championship. Coventry going for a bit of an identity crisis. And they were on the brink. I think they were on the brink. Well, they're definitely on the brink of a return to the Premier League. I think they're trying so very hard to get back. Of course, Mark Robbins had to pay the price because he's been there long enough. And his successes warranted change. Let's mix it up a little bit into the Premier League. And we'll go with these guys. The Geordies, of course, had great early years in the Premier League in the 90s. Kevin Keegan, and then of course the likes of Graham Souness, etc., etc. West Ham as well, some good successes as well for them, and they could be argued that they could belong in the Championship, but not for me. I think West Ham were a traditional club. Let's go drop back down to League Two, and let's do some other interesting ones. One is a League One club. We're going to throw them in the deep end now. It's Northampton Town. They're doing okay in the division. They're not setting the place on fire. Carlisle as well, flirting between the two divisions, but more often than not, I find them in League Two. So that's where they're going to belong, in my eyes. Into League One. Let's go these guys here. One is currently League One, one's League Two, but they are back in the League One right here. I've got Bristol Rovers. I'm going to go Gillingham. I think they are, traditionally, League One club. They may have been as high as the Championship back in the 90s and the early doors of the Premier League. They might have been in the Championship, but realistically, they've not done much more than that. Let's go couple of heavy hitters currently in the Premier League, but they should be in the Championship. It's Brighton. It's, of course, Southampton. You could argue that Brighton, they shot up the ladders, and they were more often than not over the last 30-odd years in League One and maybe even League Two. But I think I'm comfortable in having them in the Championship alongside Southampton, again a traditional Premier League club, and you can probably even argue that they belong in the Premier League. But I made the call, as a bold call, to drop the Saints into the Championship alongside their better rivals Portsmouth. And in their place, we put in, let's go with a couple of Premier League winners then, eh? Should we do that? And yeah, you're going to be, some people will argue, bit of bias. I'm going Blackburn Rovers. But, you know, they were in the Premier League in the glory years, the infancy. They were founding members. They won the league, and they were relegated. They bounced back, and they were there or thereabouts for good years. Leicester, of course, they won it as well, so I can't really discredit them. Yeah, Rovers are in the top 10, I think, at least in the upper echelons of the rankings with the amount of games won in the Premier League, and we haven't been there for 10 years. So let's give we've got some skin in the game here. We might be losing that a little bit over the years. We might, of course, be falling down slowly but surely. Yeah, I think we deserve to be in there, and I ain't changing it. So we are at the halfway mark for the Premier League. Let's do a couple more of the lower leagues then, shall we? Let's start with League Two, and we'll go with these guys, brothers in arms. That is Morecambe. There's Accrington Stanley. Again, yeah, they've both been up to League One in recent years, but that's pretty much it. Into League One we go, and let's go these guys, formerly in the Championship. But for now, I think they belong here in League One. It's Blackpool. It's Wycombe. Oh, yes, indeed. And let's do a couple Championship ones. Yeah, these guys here are pretty similar. And that is Wigan and Huddersfield Town. Huddersfield Town, of course, in the Premier League, quite recent. Wigan, yeah, they were in there for a few years. Haven't been there in a while and going through the mill right now. I can't really warrant them any higher than the Championship in my eyes. We're going to skip out the Prem because we've got a lot more in the lower leagues. Let's really ruffle some feathers here and go with these guys. Have I done these guys already? Did I do these guys? I think I did I? Yeah, I did. We can't do them. Let's do these. These will piss a few people off. Let's go for it. It's Millwall. It's Preston. That is in. I've gone straight to League One here with this one. Preston never been as higher than the Championship. We're in League One for a good part of the past 30 years. Millwall the same. So take that, you knobbers. What about League Two? Let's go with these guys again. I don't think they've been any higher. We got Newport County. We've got Harrogate Town. Definitely Harrogate Town have not been any higher than League One. So that's already made up your mind. And Newport County may have. They may have dabbled. And into the Championship, let's go with a couple of Premier League clubs. Actually, let's go these guys. Ruffle some more feathers while we're at it. It's Burnley. It's Bolton. Oh yeah, let's do it. Bit of localness there. That's right. Bit of rivalry. Burnley, fucking six fingers. Yeah, realistically they should be in non-league, but I've got to give them credit where it's due. They're a Championship club, realistically, and that's where they belong. Bolton the same, but you can argue that Bolton could probably have more skin in the game in the Premier League through those early years. So that is that. I think it brings us back up to let's go back down to League Two again, and we'll go with a couple of little newbies to the scene. Sort of, yeah, they're about newbies, all right. It's Crawley, it's Bromley. Bromley definitely haven't been any further than this. So that was an easy one. Crawley are in League One right now, but I can't warrant them to be any higher than League Two. Into League One we'll go. A couple of little surprise packages, and I'm going to throw in Crewe Alexandra and Doncaster Rovers. Definitely a lot of reputation about them, and they should be at this level. And hopefully the return to this tier ain't that far away. Into the Championship, let's go a couple of another curveballs, and we're going to throw in the likes of Barnsley and Reading. Oh yeah, Reading, of course, Premier League, former Premier League club. Barnsley were in the Premier a long time ago. Were so close under Valérien Ismaël, but couldn't get there. But I think they're just about warrant their spot in the Championship. Again, could argue about that as well. More Premier League clubs. Let's go for a bit of northwestness here, or northeastness, should I say. It's Sunderland, it's Middlesbrough. They both should be alongside Newcastle in what will be a spicy-looking Premier League. That's my belief. There, back down to League Two we go, and let's take these two here. Cheltenham were in League One last season. Maybe you could argue that they should be there. Tranmere also could and probably should be higher than they are in League Two. I remember them being a steady Eddie Championship club, but it's been a long, long time since those days. What about these guys? Let's do these actually. Very similar looking badges. It is Peterborough. It is Stockport. Stockport are back in this division. They were in this division for a long time, and they fell off the face of the earth for a good portion of the time. But I think they're back home where they belong, so I'm happy with that. What about these two? There we go. It's Cardiff. It's Hull. Both in the Championship. I think they both belong there as well. I think anything more than that is a little bit, I don't think it's warranted. Okay, let's go. Let's chuck a couple more in the Prem. We've got Everton. I think they belong in. They've never been relegated, so they should belong there. Forest back, and they look good right now. They look good. It's been a while. They were out in the wilderness for a while, but realistically, this club in the early days were competitors, top 5 club for a good couple of years. They did fall off a little bit, but I think they deserve to be in the Prem. Moving back down to League Two, let's go for these guys. It's Salford again. I don't think they've ever been promoted. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chesterfield were a League One club, but it's been a while, so I don't really want to argue their case for that. So I think League Two is probably best. Let's go with these guys. Of course, familiar foes through the non-league and last season. Wrexham, of course, in League One. Notts County currently in League Two, but I think they do belong in this division. So let's put them there. Back into the Championship. Let's go with these guys. The Battle of the W's. It is Watford. It is Wolves, currently bottom-ish. I think it just won today. Bottom-ish of the pile, but really they're a Championship club, just like Watford. Championship club. Into the final batches of clubs here. Let's go to the Premier League. Let's go these guys. Actually, yeah, let's go them. We have Fulham. Yeah, again, you could argue that they might not belong here, and also Sheffield United. You could argue that they probably don't belong here, but I think they've had a few reps in this division, so I'm gonna allow them a spot here in the big time once again. Sheffield United. Alrighty, back down we go, and let's take these guys. League Two, we've got Colchester United, and we have Mansfield. Of course, Mansfield doing great right now in League One, but realistically, they're surprised that they back into League One. Let's go these guys. We have Bradford, and we have Rotherham. Bradford, they're stuck in the sinking sand in the minute. They can't get out of this League Two. But I think they should be punching in the League One, maybe even need the Championship. I think powerhouse club, down on their luck. They need something going their way, and hopefully it's this season. Next up, we go to the Championship, and I've got Ipswich Town, and I've got Stoke. I think they are Championship. They're not Prem. Of course, Ipswich are in the Prem for the first time in a while. And Stoke have been there as well for a bit. So, meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, we have Villa and Norwich. Getting close to completing the pile. We're going to the final rungs of my ladder here. We're going to go back down to League Two, and we're going to do a couple black and whites here, and they are Grimsby and they are Port Vale. I'd love, Port Vale are doing great, and they could be back very, very soon. But I think they belong in League Two, if we're completely honest. A couple of surprises coming at you now into League One, and they are Oxford and they are Plymouth. You know, Oxford doing all right, Plymouth, but realistically, I think they're lucky to be in the Championship right now, because traditionally that's where they belong. Into the final couple of the Championship now, and who are we talking about? We're talking Birmingham City. We're talking about Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, you could argue they belong in the Prem as well, but there's only room for 20, unfortunately. And my final 2 spots, they will go to these guys. Leeds United and West Bromwich Albion. Of course, that complete my 20. Of course, what do you think about that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I think that was quite telling, that, and yeah, a few surprises in there maybe, but ultimately that's what I think. That's what I think about the state of play of the 92 who should be where, of course. But let me know your thoughts down below, and maybe if you've got time, punch in your own 92 down below. Until then, though, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. Until then, guys and girls, we are done.